Okay, I'm going to do a tutorial for It Ain't Hard to Tell, more for the sake of completeness than for any other reason, just because I said I would do a tutorial for every track on Nas's Illmatic. But I should warn you now that I don't think this track sounds particularly good on keyboard, and also it's impossible to play all of the samples at the same time. So it's going to be a bit of a mess, but I'll talk you through it anyway. So, okay, we'll start at the beginning. So it starts like this. And by the way, I'm going to play everything using an electric piano sound. So it's going to sound pretty different to the original because that's using like voice samples and everything else. So it starts like this. And then at the same time, on top of that, you get this sample from Kool and the Gang, which is this screeching saxophone. Again, it's going to sound very different on electric piano, but that sounds like this. So those will get played at the same time. I can't play them all at the same time. But if we analyze those, we start off with two different samples from Michael Jackson's Human Nature. So this bass line is coming from Human Nature, and it gets used later on when we actually get so the keyboard part that comes later. We're going to come back to that. So these bass notes continue, and then on top of that, there's this Michael Jackson voice sample from another part of the same track in Human Nature that's getting put on top of it. And maybe you should have checked this before I started this recording, but I think this bit might have been flattened by a semitone because they're not in the same key, these two bits. This is kind of starting in D major, but then this, I mean, that's on the D flat major scale. So left hand's kind of playing in D major to begin with, and then the voice is in D flat major, so it's already clashing. And then I'm not sure what key this bit's in, but it sounds kind of like B flat minor, which would be the same scale as D flat major. So the voice sample and the saxophone kind of fit together, but then the bass line is in a completely different scale. It's especially obvious when you get the E in the bass, because you're playing these four notes in the right hand, and then you have an E in the bass that goes right in between these notes. So yeah, the opening, you know, is this kind of deliberately dissonant sound collage, which sounds a bit strange when you put it on keyboard. So that is that section of the track, and then later on we get a kind of purer sample from Michael Jackson's Human Nature, which sounds like this. So and in the middle we also have like some extra like synth sounds, or maybe that voice sample, I'm not sure. So we get these chords again. You can't play all of those at the same time, but let's analyze the chords first of all. So this is the first one. That is, well, this would be just a straight G major chord. We're taking the G, the root, down a semitone, which makes it a major seventh. So that's G major 7. Next chord, that's just a straight A major triad. And then this, if we move the bass up an octave, it's F major 7. And then this is E minor 7. So the chords are G major 7, A, F major 7, E minor 7. Now if we look at this right hand riff, then so this opening bit is kind of based on the 5th and 3rd of the chord. So this is a G major chord. I think in the original recording they have a 9th in the left hand anyway. So that's the 5th and 3rd of a G major chord, and then we get so this is now the root and 3rd of an A major triad. So we're going from 3rd and 5th of a G major triad to the root and 3rd of an A major triad, and then next we have, that is the 3rd and 5th of an F major triad, going to the 3rd and 5th of an E minor triad. So the right hand riff is kind of based on mostly 3rds and 5ths, and also roots and 3rds of these triads. So 3rd and 5th of G, root and 3rd of A, 3rd and 5th of F, 3rd and 5th of E minor. And there you go. That's the whole track in terms of the samples. I think the last bit's maybe the most useful bit to extract and maybe apply to another piece.